Welcome to a Rome Total War tier list, and today we are ranking the different factions, but from an AI only perspective. How well do these factions do in campaign when it's AI only mode? Thank you to D's Biscuits for setting this tier list up for me. So let's begin. And starting this off, we have Carthage. Now overall they do usually survive in the campaigns until the mid game, but I've never actually seen them do well. They've never conquered Iberia, they've never conquered all of Sicily, they've never even conquered all of Africa, but they are better than some that are going to be on this list. So I do believe that Carthage is a bad faction, but they're not a meme faction. They still do have some strength in there. Alright, now here we are, the British. They have very good chariots with double hit points. If you don't know, double hit points in auto-resolve means a lot. That is very powerful. And the fact that their chariots have that, and their chariots are on their generals, makes them very powerful. So they do usually have very good campaigns. However, if they lose their starting settlement in mainland Europe, then they are done for. So that is their main weakness. But if they can get a good foothold, they're going to win. I'm gonna say they're great, and they're not Fez tier simply because of that downside. They are not good from sending troops from Britain down into mainland Europe. Armenia, here we are. Sometimes they do okay, sometimes they don't do okay. Overall though, you have to remember, they don't have the best starting location. Right in the mountains. Only 2 settlements, I think. So yeah, not the best start. You know what, I'll say they're average. Not really much more to say about them. We don't see them that often do well or have any success, but that being said, they're not meant to. You've got to give them the benefit of the doubt for having a poor start. And then there's Dacia, which I think, the same can be said for them too as Armenia. Overall, they don't have the best start, but we do sometimes see them do well and sometimes see them do bad. So I think they are in the good tier, the average tier. Oh, the Brutii. Certainly the best of the best. The Brutii are just unstoppable. Usually they have a slow early game, but most of my AI only time lapses, they won. Like I think it was about, it must have been about 50% of them they won, and the other 50% went to other factions. So Brutii, I am going to have to put them in Fez tier. Now Brutii pre-Marian is bad, but Brutii post-Marian is a clear Fez tier. They are godly and unstoppable, and when the civil war does strike, they almost always come out on top and dominate both the Julii and the Scipii. Egypt, another faction with chariots. They also do incredibly well in auto-resolve. Usually they do conquer most of Northern Africa and in a lot of campaigns, the Middle East as well. So I am going to put them up here in great tier, along with the British. However, they are not Fez tier. Why? Because like the British, they do have one downside, and it is the Seleucid Empire. Usually, the Seleucid Empire will fail, but there's odd times where they will succeed, and Egypt will suffer greatly from that. So that's the only limit there for them. Gaul is absolutely terrible in all of these, but I can kind of understand it. They're fighting the British in the north, who have god tier auto-resolve. They've got the Germans on their border as well, they're fighting the Iberians, and on top of all of that, they've got the Julii to deal with. Gaul never does well. However, unlike Armenia and Dacia, they do have an okay start, and they do have a lot of settlements as well, and a lot of potential. I'm about to put them in bad, But now that I really think about it, although they do always lose their land, we have before seen them actually defeat the Julii. We have seen that happen. We have seen the Gauls before, in vanilla campaign, actually take Rome for themselves. It's rare, but we have seen it happen. So I was about to go bad tier, but now I think of that. You know what, I'll put them in good tier. They're weird. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're bad. They're never good, but we gotta balance it out and put them in good. And the Germans are very similar, but less extreme. Usually they do have good campaigns as well, and we have seen the Germans beat the Julii and also take Rome from the SBQR before. However, we also see them fail as much as the Gauls do. I'm gonna have to put them in good again. Yeah, I think Gauls and Germans, they're about the same. Although I will say the Germans are slightly better. The Greek city-states, a very fun faction to play, but sadly the AI cannot control it. You have settlements all over the place, and you really need to use sea travel and a navy to take advantage of the Greeks. And the AI cannot do that, so for that reason they are bad. Greece should be a very powerful faction, and if it was human players, then sure, it'd be like a great tier faction. But because, of course, you know, controlled by the AI, they're not that good, they don't play that well, so they have to go bad tier. Although they do put up a fight, so they're not meme factions. And I will say they are better than Carthage, I'll give them that. The Julii up next, another Roman faction. Where am I gonna put these? Well, they have the same strengths of the Brutii. They are weak in pre-Marian, but post-Marian, they're gonna win the game. However, they're not Brutii level, because they usually do lose to the Brutii. They also have been known to lose to the Gauls and the Germans, as in losing all of their starting territory, and allowing the barbarians to take Rome. I'm gonna have to put them on the lower end of great tier. They are a great faction, especially with Marian reforms, but before that, they're more just an average one if I'm being honest, so I think low tier great. And they have won before as well, that pushes them up a bit as well. Macedon. Macedon is terrible. Completely terrible under the control of the AI. Usually Dacia takes their northern settlements, or sometimes it's Thrace, then the Greeks attack them as well, and quite often the Brutii won't go for the Greek city-states in the early game, but they'll go for Macedon instead, and because of all of that, Macedon cannot handle it and they collapse. Macedon's strategy, when controlled by the AI, is to play defensive, and that's not what they need to do. They need to play aggressive. But I wouldn't say they're a meme. I'd say they're better than Carthage in most campaigns. Are they better than the Greeks? Oh, it's 50-50 here. I'll say no. Now, because we have once before seen the Greeks actually take the Middle East. I don't know what happened, but they did manage to do it. Only happened once, so yeah, for that reason, Macedon is one tier behind. Okay, next faction, the Numidians, meme. Obviously, they are terrible. They usually do nothing at all in the campaigns. They're gonna lose Siwa very early on to the Egyptians. Then they're gonna lose land to Carthage. Chances are Carthage could possibly destroy them. However, if they do just happen to survive, the Scipii will walk in and take them out. They have never had a good campaign. I don't even think I've seen them take another settlement. I'm sure it's happened, but I don't recall it. I don't recall a time seeing Numidia in vanilla Rome Total War take another faction settlement. That's how bad they are. Clear meme tier. Everyone jokes about the Numidians in those campaigns. And I think going there with them is Parthia, although I would say Parthia is a little bit better. Parthia has the same problems. You know, if they don't get destroyed by the Seleucid Empire and Scythia, then they're gonna get destroyed by the Egyptians. it's all downhill for them, which is always sad to see. I would love to see a more pink map. In addition to that, they also have the same weakness of the Greek city-states. They are separated into separate spheres. And I think that northern settlement, campus something in the top right, I think that weakens them more than anything else. So yeah, for that reason Parthia is a meme tier. They always do terrible, but I think they're better than the Numidians. Pontus is a very interesting one. They always have a good start. They usually do conquer Anatolia and push back the Seleucid Empire, but they always fail mid to late game. Either the Seleucids come back, Egypt kills them, or the Brutii happen to land in Anatolia and they wipe them out. I'm gonna say they're good tier, and mid-range good tier. Yeah, actually I think Pontus is as average as you can get with these factions. Completely average, normal, right in the middle. For some reason the rebels are in this. Yeah, just ignore them I think. The Scipii. They can usually conquer Sicily, but for their early and mid game, that is usually it. That's all they do. And it's only once they get Marian reforms that they actually push out and conquer Northern Africa. But then they always fail, because the civil war will hit, and the Brutii or the Julii will destroy them, or the Egyptians in some cases. As said before, the AI cannot work water and fleets properly. They struggle there, and that is what weakens the Scipii. But still, they do achieve their main objective: take out Carthage and conquer North Africa, even if they do fail as the game progresses. So, you know what, they get beaten by all of these factions here, but they can beat back everyone else I think. So I think the top end of good tier is the best place for the Scipii. I don't think I have ever seen Scythia play particularly good. They never play great. That I very rarely see. But they also don't play bad. I've never seen them have a terrible campaign. It's always more, they sit there, they take some land, they lose the land, and then that's about it. Nothing really special about this faction's AI in campaign. So I'm going to put them, I think, top end of bad tier. Yeah, I think the Gauls are just better because at least the Gauls have had good campaigns. They're not necessarily bad, Scythia, but they've never been good. So yeah, top end of bad. Or I could go bottom end of good, but I think this spot's better, I think. Iberia, a very terrible faction, another one. They very rarely conquer all of Iberia and take land. They might kick the Gauls out, but that's usually all you might see. They do usually fail, but they survive. They do usually survive until the late game, but that's more them taking advantage of the map. Like in the top left corner of Iberia where the mountains are. They can survive there for a while, but that's not skill of a faction. That's just them surviving. I'm gonna put them at the bottom end of bad tier. Yeah, I don't think they're a meme faction, but I think these other four are better. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. Okay, the SBQR. They sit there and do nothing for the entire game. Nothing at all. Actually, I've changed my mind. I want to put Pontus here. Yeah, that makes more sense to me, yeah. I don't even know why the SBQR is on this list. They don't do anything. You know what, I'm gonna have a rant about the SBQR. They are lazy. They let other factions do all the work for them, but they're dumb as well, because eventually those factions go to the Civil War, and then the SBQR always collapses. They don't do anything about it. In addition to that, when the Julii fail to the Gauls, Rome is usually sacked just a few turns after. They don't hold out for that long at all. The SBQR is pointless. A really terrible AI faction, and they're programmed to be. You know what, they're going in meme. However, I think they're still better than Numidia. I don't know, it's unfair to actually rank for SBQR. I don't know, I probably shouldn't do it, but yeah, I'm not going to do it because it's unfair to rank them. Same with Rebels, I shouldn't really rank them, but they would go here if I had to. Alright, final two factions now. Thrace, let me think. Thrace usually have a bad campaign, but I have seen them before do well, once or twice. Once I think they conquered most of the Middle East. That was a very good run for them. Like, they somehow got a boat into Anatolia and just exploded. Although it eventually fell to the Brutii, if I remember the time-lapse right. I'm gonna have to put Thrace, yeah, here. They're not Pontus level, but I think they're better than Dacia and Armenia. So I think that is the best spot for them. And now here we are, the final faction. I wanted to save this one for last. The Seleucid Empire. They are a meme faction in a sense. Usually they do terrible. However, in the AI-only time-lapses, we have seen them put up a good fight and often conquer the Middle East. But don't expand any further out of that though. This is a very weird faction, because in 50% of games, they are here, top end of the meme faction. But in another 50%, they are in the great tier list. This is why I saved it for last, because it's going to be a controversial one. I have seen it play very well in a lot of games, in the AI onlys, but if you're a human and you're watching, usually they don't do well. Like if you play as the Britons, for example, and you just toggle FOW mid-map, the Seleucids are usually dead, but if you do an AI-only campaign playing as the Rebels, they do well. They do start off with a lot of land, but they're designed to fail, so should we give them the benefit of the doubt? I really feel they could go in any of these 4 spots right now. They could go anywhere. What I'm going to have to do then, is it's obvious. Put them as average. If I said Pontus was average, then I put them with Pontus. Oh, it doesn't look right though because they're miles better than Thrace. They have won before. The Scipii haven't won before, Pontus has never won before. But they're also a meme. Oh, I'm gonna do it, you know what, bottom end of great. Oh, but the Julii should really be there. This is a very weird one, I don't know what to do. You know what, top end of good. There we go, I think that is a good spot for it. And just for the sake of it, let's put that there, and the Rebels, the best. I don't know what to do with the Rebels. Get the Rebels out of it, they don't do anything. Like, they can't, because when I do my AI campaigns to do them, I play as the Rebels. So it's pointless, we can't judge them. And now I can't take them out. There we go, that is the Rome Total War AI factions ranked. From Fez tier to meme tier. Let me know what you think. Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know. Bearing in mind we're ranking the AI, not the battles, not the roster, not how good they are from a human point of view. We're ranking the AI and how that plays the faction and how it plays under the control of the AI. Anyway, that has been my tier list. Subscribe to get notified of more. Share this video with anyone you think may be interested. I have been MELKOR. Also check out my AI only campaigns and my AI only time lapses or anything else on my channel. I have been MELKOR. Hope to see you in the next one, tomorrow's video, but for now, goodbye.